miss you. I miss you. I've been trying to find you for so long. Where have you been all this time?
My mother had someone try to harm me. I was lucky to survive, and the first thing I did was come to find you.
Why would your own mother do something like that?
What would you do if the person who betrayed you was the one who gave you life? On a quiet road, two lovers reunite after a disappearance that nearly destroyed their hearts. But behind that tearful embrace lies a shocking truth, an unforgivable betrayal driven by greed and power. From exile and silence, Toan returns to face the ultimate enemy and reclaim everything that was stolen from him, with Diem standing fearlessly at his side. This is a story of love, betrayal, survival, and redemption. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications because this journey is only beginning. The late afternoon light stretched across the long, quiet road as Diem walked alone, her footsteps slow and heavy, as if each step carried the weight of the days she had lived without Toan. The city moved around her with its usual noise and rush, yet inside her, everything felt strangely empty. She had searched for him in her dreams, in memories, in every familiar street they once walked together, but reality had remained cruelly silent. Her heart had grown tired of hoping, yet it still refused to let go. And then, just as the sun dipped lower and the wind brushed softly against her hair, she saw him. At first, she thought it was an illusion born from longing, an outline standing still in the distance, painfully familiar. Her breath caught in her throat. Her hands began to tremble. The world around her seemed to blur as her eyes fixed on that figure. Toan stood there, right in the middle of the road, thinner than before, shadows of suffering etched on his face, yet his eyes, those same eyes she loved, held nothing but her. For a moment, neither of them moved. Time itself seemed to hesitate between disbelief and truth. Then Diem ran. She ran as if all the pain, fear, and waiting of those endless days had gathered into her trembling legs. When she reached him, she buried her face into his chest, gripping his shirt tightly as if letting go would make him disappear again. Toan wrapped his arms around her without hesitation, holding her with the desperate strength of a man who had feared he would never return. Their tears fell freely, soaking into each other's shoulders, carrying away the anguish that had nearly broken them apart. No words were needed. In that silent embrace, every unanswered question, every lonely night, every silent prayer found its meaning. The road, once ordinary and indifferent, became the witness to their reunion, the place where loss turned into hope, where despair finally surrendered to love. Cars passed by, people glanced at them briefly before moving on, unaware that right there, in the middle of an unremarkable street, two broken hearts were being stitched back together. Toan rested his forehead against Diem's, his voice barely more than a whisper as he spoke her name, as if saying it again would make it real. Diem closed her eyes, breathing him in, feeling the warmth of his presence, convincing herself that this was not a dream. They had found each other again, not in a grand place, not under perfect circumstances, but right there, on a quiet road, where sorrow ended and their life together began once more. Still holding each other in the quiet aftermath of their reunion, they slowly stepped aside toward the edge of the road. The world returned in soft fragments, the hum of passing cars, the distant echo of footsteps, the faint rustle of leaves disturbed by the wind. Diem was the first to pull back slightly, her hand still gripping Toan's coat, as if she feared he might vanish again if she loosened her hold. Her eyes searched his face with 1,000 unspoken questions. Toan inhaled deeply, as though gathering the courage to finally reveal the truth he had carried alone for far too long. His voice was low when he began, unsteady at first, then growing heavier with each word. He told her about the accident that had never really been an accident, about the night he was forced into a car under the cover of darkness, and the moment he realized that the person standing behind it all was the one he had trusted most, his own mother. Each sentence fell like a stone into Diem's heart. The woman who had once smiled at her across family dinners, who had spoken gentle words of blessing, had secretly planned his destruction to seize the company and erase him completely from her path of power. Toan spoke of hospitals he was moved between in secrecy, of threats whispered through intermediaries, of being pushed beyond the borders of the city with nothing but fear and the will to survive. There were nights he lay awake, unsure if he would see another dawn, his only strength the memory of Diem's face and the sound of her voice calling his name in his thoughts. As his story unfolded, Diem's tears flowed silently, her hands trembling against his. Rage, disbelief, sorrow, and helpless love twisted together inside her chest. When Toan finally fell silent, his eyes dark with pain and restraint, Diem lifted her trembling hand to his face. She did not curse his mother. She did not ask why fate had been so cruel. Instead, through tears, she spoke with quiet determination. She told him that he was no longer alone, that whatever waited ahead, danger, truth, or confrontation, she would face it with him. Her words anchored him more firmly than any promise of revenge could have. For the first time since the betrayal, Toan felt something loosen inside his chest, the heavy knot of isolation that had bound him through every moment of exile. He gently pressed his forehead to hers again, closing his eyes as if to steady himself. The past had finally been spoken aloud, and the truth, though terrifying, had broken the last wall between them. From that moment on, their reunion was no longer just a return to love. It became the beginning of a battle neither of them could turn away from. That night marked the quiet turning point of everything. The road where they reunited faded behind them, but the promise born there followed every step they took forward. From that moment on, Toan no longer hid in the shadows of survival. He began preparing for return. Days later, his name reappeared in places where it had been deliberately erased: financial records, forgotten contracts, whispers among former allies. The man who had once been hunted now moved with purpose. Diem stood beside him through every step, watching the transformation with both fear and pride. The gentleness in his eyes never left when he looked at her, but beneath that softness now lived steel. Toan uncovered forged documents, traced hidden transfers of power, and slowly rebuilt the network that had been torn from him. Each truth he uncovered was another wound reopened, yet also another piece of his strength restored. Meanwhile, Diem became more than the woman he loved. She became his shield and his anchor, guarding his spirit when the weight of betrayal threatened to crush him. There were nights when exhaustion overtook him, when the memories of his mother's cold calculations returned to haunt him. In those moments, Diem's quiet presence, her hand resting over his heart, reminded him why he was fighting, not for revenge alone, but for the life they had almost lost. When the day finally came for Toan to step back into the company he once built with trust and vision, the room fell into stunned silence. Faces that had turned away in opportunistic fear now stared at him in disbelief. His mother's composure shattered for only a second, but that second was enough. Evidence fell into place with ruthless clarity. Truth moved faster than lies ever could. Power shifted, not with screams or violence, but with undeniable proof in the irreversible weight of justice. Through it all, Diem remained at his side, her presence a quiet declaration that he had not returned alone. When it was over, when the final signature was signed and the control of the company returned to its rightful hands, Toan did not feel triumph in the way he had once imagined. What he felt instead was relief. Deep, trembling relief that the nightmare had ended and that the woman he loved was still there when the dust settled. Outside the building, under a sky washed clean by rain, Toan turned to Diem and held her face in his hands. From now on, no one will ever take you from me again. Diem smiled through tears, knowing that the battle they survived had not only reclaimed a company, but had saved their love from being buried in betrayal forever.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Ly Tu Diem Review. Vậy là sau rất là nhiều ngày xa cách vì bị mẹ của Toàn hãm hại, thì giờ đây Toàn và Diễm đã đoàn tụ với nhau trong những giây phút rất là cảm động. Toàn và Diễm bây giờ đây là những người không có nơi nương tựa. Cả hai quyết định sẽ dựa vào nhau và sẽ đi thuê một căn nhà trọ để ở tạm và sẽ bắt đầu lại cuộc sống mới. Tất cả tình tiết hấp dẫn của câu chuyện tình yêu diễn tả sẽ được kể các video tiếp theo. Các bạn đừng quên bấm vào nút subscribe để đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Thanks for watching and bye bye.